Okay, shelf porn, beer, camera, and a book review. Hi, I'm Kirk FM. We're going to talk about The Sculptor today. The Sculptor is a graphic novel by Scott McCloud. If the name seems unfamiliar, it's kind of because he doesn't do actual fiction and novels. He's also done some Superman adventures, like all ages comics, but he's also been a really big powerhouse behind pushing what comics can be. He's been one of the biggest voices. His online presence is really well known. He wrote a really great book called Understanding Comics that I really urge anyone who is just a fan of the whole art form altogether to please go check out. I'll probably put the description, and I'll actually put the link to Scott McCloud and his website in the annotations. But you just kind of need to go into the book knowing this, because he's always really championed what graphic novels and comics and the entire art form are really capable of, and really have kind of been like a futurist in where the entire form is going. So The Sculptor is a book by Scott McCloud, and it's about a character named Eric David, and he's a young, literally architect, sculptor, artist who lives in New York, and he is kind of really down on his luck. He actually ends up making a deal with the devil to be granted powers to be able to make anything or sculpt anything with his bare hands. And that seems far-fetched, but of course it's comics, and it's an amazing graphic novel, and that's probably where we need to kind of really understand. It's where all you need to know about this. It's so good. It's nice. It's just, oh, how do I talk about this thing without giving it too much away? The deal comes with the fact that he only has 200 days from when he takes the deal with the devil before he's gonna die. It's just so intense. He doesn't have any family. Like I said, he's really down on his luck. It's usually in any type of allegory where it's like, deal with the devil. Sometimes that kind of gets really boring and really mundane. You already kind of see where it's going to go from there. Throw that idea completely out. And The Sculptor takes it someplace else. He also meets a girl by the name of Meg, who doesn't really fall under the archetype of manic pixie girl, but she is also very relatable because we've all met that girl in real life, and someone who kind of makes you feel a bit more alive and takes extra work to really get to know. Also, if you need to understand, it's not just about being a sculptor. It really goes into the art world, and it talks about if you're passionate about anything, and you can apply that to anything in your life, whether it's art and music or writing or whatever it is that makes you really feel alive and really want to create. So you can kind of take that idea of being a sculptor and apply it to any other thing in your life, and I think you'll really relate to it. One of the best parts for me, anytime you include the death character, I always kind of roll my eyes at it. On top of that, because I have a huge fear of death personally, death comes in the form of his Uncle Harry, and it turns out that it's probably one of the most enjoyable characters in the entire book, and I really did enjoy it. Anytime death showed up, I wasn't cringing or freaking out or going to wonder, at one point he was going to turn the tables and you're going to get that, deal with Lucifer. Oh, you forgot to read the fine print, so this is how it's really going to work. Whoops. It doesn't happen. Uncle Harry, death, is probably one of my favorite characters, and especially how they explain how death is connected and anchored to the real world. You're gonna love it. It's really sweet, actually. What else do you need to know about The Sculptor? Aside from the fact that this probably looks very British from the view that I'm working on right now, it's just all these great muted blues and blacks and a page that's blank. But it's just, it's fluid without, being out of the box, and it's also very realistic and relatable. Something I've really enjoyed about that. Something else I kind of need to point out, because in case I hit one of those pages, not all ages. There's some nudity in here, and there's also some real world stuff that you have to kind of deal with as an adult, or as a young adult, or as a kid who's trying to figure out how he wants to be an adult but doesn't really want to be an adult. Like that, you can just see some of the really cool stuff that's happening in this graphic novel. Just very, very, very cool. I got lucky, signed a copy. Very stoked on that. Also, one of the coolest parts, the best graphic novel I've read in years by Neil Gaiman. So once you're getting a Neil Gaiman quote on the cover of your new graphic novel, that pretty much screams that you need to go out and read it. We gotta talk about David Smith for a second. One of my favorite titles ever was Scott Pilgrim, obviously. One of the best things about Scott Pilgrim was that I didn't always think Scott was the greatest guy in the comic book. Sometimes you wanted to slap him around. He redeems himself, he's adorable, he kind of gets it together at the end. Something that I've noticed in titles that I like is that I don't always really warm up to the main character or protagonist right away. Something that a lot of readers are probably going to find a little frustrating, but I really, really want you to stick with it, is that our protagonist in this book, you want to slap him around. Sometimes he won't take help, or he makes very strange promises to himself, and he just vows never to break them, which sometimes you would think is a great character trait, and why can't we see that more in real life? And this book kind of shows you why it would just be really annoying and you want to slap that person around in real life. So I want you to stick with it, because sometimes the main character, you're just like, dude, really, get some help, ask for some help, do something with it. But other than that, you kind of start rooting for him at the end, and it is really cool how you see the transformation of where he starts and where he gets to by the end of the story. Like I said, Scott McCloud has really kind of championed what comics are capable of. And it kind of rings true, like you think about guys like Alan Moore, who always wanted to write comics and graphic novels in a way that they could do something that film couldn't. I'm not going to spoil anything here, but there are moments in this book where if it ever turned into a film, there's no way they could recreate it as beautifully as Scott did in this book. There's some scenes that are just, I don't care but how sophisticated the camera is or where the effects go. There's just a lot of love and detail that goes into how he sets up some of these scenes and how they play out. And that, it took my breath away. Also, this thing clocks in at close to 500 pages. I don't want that to deter you, and this is why. When I was reading it, and I realized that in a span of 5 panels to like maybe 3 pages, he can take you on an emotional roller coaster. I actually started to slow down and take breaks. So I could have taken this out early in like maybe an afternoon, and I found myself stopping every 20 or 30 pages just so that I can keep the experience going. It is that good. I cannot implore you to go out and get this anymore. Especially like this is my first review, so I decided to like just go big. Buy it. It's The Sculptor by Scott McCloud. It's put out by First Second. Like I said, this is a hardcover copy. It's absolutely beautiful. Please go out and support him. Like I said, I'm going to put links down below so that you can see all the other great stuff he's done. I really want you to go check out Understanding Comics, especially if you're a huge fan of the form and like the art and what it's capable of. Go support them. And let me catch myself doing something I never thought I would before. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully we'll be back with more reviews. This is the new channel. Welcome to it. Cheers, guys. I'm Kirk. We'll catch you next time.